Hi everyone, my name's Phil Hansen and I'm an artist, but I didn't actually create these artworks. They were created by attendees at virtual conferences that I presented at. And in a minute, I'm gonna dig into the process of how you bring the virtual space into the real world physical space. But first I wanna tell you a little bit more about my life, about my story. Because I had an experience in my life that is really applicable to where we are today. And that story starts back in high school, when I was first becoming interested in art. And the style that I absolutely fell in love with was called pointillism, which is just using dots, lots and lots of little tiny dots to make a picture. But the repetitive action of just working with dots for hours, weeks, months on end began to take a toll on the nerves in my arm and my hand began to shake. Initially, I just held the pen really tight, compensating for that shake, but that actually just made things worse. It even got so bad that at one point, this was the straightest line I could draw. And this was devastating. This was seemingly the end of my dream of being an artist. And so I dropped out of art school and eventually I quit doing art completely. And it took me a few years to find my way back to art because I had been hiding. I don't know if you've ever had a struggle in your life that's so big that you kind of you run away from it, you retreat. And that's what I did for a long time. But as I found my way back into art, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go to a neurologist, get the shake checked out. And I went in, he put me through some different tests and gave me the very simple yet hard diagnosis of permanent nerve damage. And many of us have been in the doctor's office and received bad news before. It's a crummy moment. You have to sit there and reimagine your life in a certain sense. So as I was doing that, being really quiet and I'm pondering, the doctor, he's in the room watching me and he's like, well, if your hand shakes, why don't you just embrace the shake? And I remember listening to his advice and I was just like, wait, are you serious right now? Like, you go to the doctor for a solution. You don't go to the doctor for advice. You get that from anyone in a certain sense. But I do remember his words kind of stuck with me. And I was like, well, what would it look like if I embraced the shake? Could I still be an artist? So I decided I was gonna get back into it a little bit. So I began experimenting and creating again. And after finding initial success, I realized that this limitation had actually pushed me creatively. And when I realized that was a mind-changing moment because, society, our world, people around us teach us that limitations are bad, constraints are bad. We need more things to be more creative. And yet there I was experiencing the complete opposite. And when I realized that limitations could drive creativity, I wondered, could I actually create limitations? What would happen to my creativity then? And the artistic journey that followed transformed my life. I had my art videos shared all over the world. I had live interviews on CNN. I was the official artist for the 51st Grammys, was a guest on Dr. Phil, and I even gave a TED Talk. As the world has shifted from gathering in person to gathering online, I've been showing audiences the path to embracing this shake. After sharing my personal story of overcoming adversity, I engaged the audience in a mini workshop of how to generate more ideas. We're all faced with more challenges and more hardships than ever before. And this workshop is really about helping all of us see that there's not one path in front of us, there's actually many paths. And after the mini workshop, I'll share with everyone what happened after giving my TED Talk, because that was this whole other beautiful journey. And as I mentioned, I will be engaging the audience in an art creation experience, all of these artworks behind me. Now, it's really simple and straightforward. What happens is I give everybody a specific website to go to on their phone. And there, they'll be drawing little pictures based on different prompts I've given them and submitting their drawings from wherever they are in the world. When the event is finished, I download all of their digital drawings. I print all of them out, cut them apart, and assemble them into a large mosaic image. The artwork takes about 2 weeks to complete, and when it's done, I'll actually make a video of the creation process, revealing the artwork to the attendees. It will include behind-the-scenes footage and, of course, the message that the artwork represents. And the core of that message is that in order for us to get to the end of our journey, we all need to contribute our piece, no matter how small, and watch as they add together to create something quite incredible. Our limitations may not be the place that we think will flourish, but my limitation changed my life. And I believe with openness, with creative discipline, and with courage, our constraints can change everything. You know, I'd like to invite you and your attendees here into the studio to experience a presentation that's interactive and engaging. I'd love to connect, to share, to motivate, and create an artwork with your attendees. And to show them that our constraints, our limitations are actually a place for passion. They're a place for enthusiasm. And of course, a place for profound change.